In 1778, a dense fog rolled into coastal Massachusetts just before dawn. It was thick as wool and silent as a grave. Beneath it, Thomas Gray rode fast. The mist muffled the sound of his horse's hooves on the wet dirt road. All around him, the sky was blue-black, split only by the orange flame in his lantern. He was on his way to meet up with 7 militiamen who were waiting for him at the bay. Their plan was to intercept a British supply ship rumored to be sailing in from the north. And sure enough, when Thomas reached the shore, he found the men waiting for him as promised, rifles slung and frost on their breath. A British ship had come ashore during the night, but there was no sound of anchor, no whistle of sails, no cries from its deck. It just appeared. The men rode out before sunrise, leaving Thomas on the shore with the horses. And as they pulled away, the ship loomed larger. It was a schooner, tall and gaunt, black and wood. The name carved into her hull was the White Widow. It was faded but legible. No lanterns, no flags, and no crew. Only the mist and the seagulls. The men scrambled up the rigging and made their way onto the deck. Thomas was first over the rail. The deck was rotted in places, but intact enough to bear their weight. Here and there, a plank was missing, revealing glimpses of the dark water below. And everywhere, rows of cannon sat like grim sentinels, unmanned and unfired. Near the mast, something glinted in the morning light. One of the men, Silas, stared at it, his face twisting in horror. He dropped his musket with a clatter. "Thomas," he whispered, "that's Eli." Thomas joined him at the rail. Below them, stretched into the wood of the main beam, was a face. No, not carved or painted, stretched, human. Its mouth hung open mid-scream. Then Silas vanished. No sound, no struggle, just gone. His coat drifted to the planks like shed skin. The others cried out his name, but there was no reply. Thomas gripped the rail, knuckles white. What in God's name? By noon, 2 more were gone. Isaac, the oldest of the men, insisted they descend into the hold and see what fate befell the crew. Armed with pistols and cutlasses, they drew torches and went down one by one. The smell hit first, brine and blood and something older, like parchment soaked in vinegar. Below deck, the darkness felt liquid, a damp, hungry silence. Then a noise. Wet rope pulling through calloused hands. Samuel stood in a corner, bleeding from his fingers, rigging a rope that wasn't attached to anything. "Samuel," Thomas hissed, "what the devil are you doing?" The man didn't respond. His eyes were cataracted white. He bled, but didn't seem to notice. Thomas approached slowly. "Samuel, come on, we must be gone from here." The man whimpered, a sound like a child caught in a lie. Then his hands moved faster, frantically knotting rope, grunting in pain. "I have to finish," Samuel rasped. "It won't let me leave. I have to finish." Then he screamed, one long, raw note, and his skin peeled backward like wind against sailcloth, and he was gone. Only the rope remained, knotted and taut, in his teeth. Thomas fled topside, but the sun was gone, replaced by stars they didn't recognize. The shoreline was a memory. The bay was gone. The Widow floated in black glass, and in the sky, above the mast, a lantern swung. Thomas raised his own to signal. His flame flickered, then matched the one above, same shape, same cracks in the glass, same soot on the wick. He looked at the handle. A name was carved, Thomas Gray. He hadn't done that. The deck was empty, no footsteps but his own. He called the names of the others, no echo, no answer, then voices. His own voice among them. "On the wind, make haste. We've got to move, row faster." He spun to the rail. There, rising through the fog, were 7 men in a rowboat, lanterns lit. One of them was Thomas. He dropped the lantern. It shattered. The light bled across the deck like oil. Behind him, the creaking of rope, the moan of old wood, a whisper behind his ear, "You promised to come home, but home is far." And the widow, she never lets go.